Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Global Speedrun Association. My name is Dangers. I'll be taking the mic today, joined in the booth by my good friend Electric. How's it going, my friend?
It's going real well. A little bit saddened that earlier Celeste race got canceled, but oh man, I am excited to see Mitch play again. He's just a powerhouse in this game, and oh man, I just can't wait. I can't wait for the run to start. It's gonna be great. Sefaro though, I met him IRL at Pace, pretty chill dude. Excited to see his run too. Had a little bit of bad luck with DSTA last time that I saw him at least, and I think that kind of just got into his head for the rest of the run. So here's hoping he has a cleaner run this time around.
Yep. Mitch has kind of built himself up a reputation in this qualifying league already as a force to be reckoned with. His movement is basically out of this world. There's nothing that really holds a stick to him in terms of his competitors. That being said, the consistency has to be there. There is still opportunity for bigger mistakes to happen as a result of, missing some of this fancy movement. So, there are definitely opportunities for Sefaro to wiggle in. Sefaro, meanwhile, he has been running this game since about day one. He is a veteran of this game. He's kind of taken some breaks on and off here and there, but he was definitely one of the prominent features. I believe he's held top 10 at one point in his Super Mario Odyssey career, so it would not surprise me if he is kind of behind the scenes doing some practice, doing some strats, and he's gonna, the possibility to pop off is still there. So this should be an interesting race.
Oh yeah, no doubt. It really just comes down to how Sefaro and Mitch are both playing today, because they both, granted, Mitch does have that PB advantage, but both of them have the capability to pull this race out if their competitor just isn't having a great day. So going into the Cap Kingdom now. Not really too much to talk about here. It's always been interesting to me how these clouds are RNG. So like sometimes you get that very clear shot at those hills you're about to go over, and then sometimes it's just this, like everything gets covered.
Yeah, and that can be kind of frustrating, especially on that last hill. You really want to focus where Mario kind of bounces off the back of that last hill in order to get the optimal bounce towards. Looks like Mitch did indeed get it. You can see that's why he's got a little bit of a lead. Also, his timer appears to be just a second or so ahead as well. Sefaro taking a bonk on the stairs on the way by. Not sure if he's going to be able to pull out that spin buffer, but he did get the first person strategy there. Might see him just roll forward here. Oh, he did get the spin buffer. All right, so progressing through. Good recovery.
So we've got Mitch taking a bonk in the frog section. Okay, that's some pretty big time loss that Sefaro can take advantage of.
Oh no! Oh my goodness, getting absolutely jebaited by the frogs there. Throwing his cap in a spin throw and not only missing the first one, but then the second two in the back bounce up right afterwards. That you hate to see. Now, basically all frog RNG can be avoided if you get to the frogs fast enough. The first one will never hop up within a certain amount of time, but if you are just even a fraction of a second too slow, then that can happen. So big mistake on Sefaro's part, and actually missing left side here as well.
Oh man, so close too, just barely not getting over that rail. Thought that was going to be good. That's so unfortunate for Sefaro. Just entering the topper fight as Mitch gets ready to take this wire to Cascade.
And Mitch, despite the bonk in the frog section, he's still looking to be coming out of here with like a 220. So that is pretty darn good for the Cap Kingdom.
Yeah, pre 1.3, that'd be just a pretty acceptable time for a PB attempt.
Absolutely. You can still kind of push forward. Just about any time that you get in Cap Kingdom could still set you on world record pace, of course, but these guys here at the top level, they're gunning for 218s, 217s if you are an absolute god.
Now, what's the BTT on Cap now? It's a 215, right?
BTT, I think, yeah, is a low 215. The best achieved time is a mid 216 by Dansta, I believe.
Ah, okay.
Which is just craziness.
Okay, both of them getting through this first moon movement pretty nicely. No real hiccups here aside from making sure you grab that chomp fast. Moving on into Dino Skip. Mitch with the that was a roll cancel, wasn't it? Kind of a weird bit of movement on that bridge, but did seem to get him there a tiny bit faster. Beautiful spin throw for the Dino.
Taking some optimal lines here. Oh, Sefaro, on the other hand, not taking quite an optimal line. Actually missed the spin pound on the bridge. Going to be having to maneuver his way back up. And
trying desperately to at least skip a bit of this bridge, but can't seem to land on cap. Okay, there we go.
And he's up. Getting some unfortunate value dives out of the water there. But he's going to be up and over the stage and doing Dino Skip for himself. You see Mitch attempting to grab as many coins as he possibly can in this Madame Brutal fight.
Oh, okay, that was a little bit sketchy of a Dino Skip from Sefaro, getting some slowdown from those rocks on the left, but still managing to make it work.
And as he edges the fights, Mitch is actually going to be on his way out. Still on pretty decent pace for Mitch. Really, only that mistake in the frog room costing him any time so far. And Sefaro, meanwhile, finishing up the fight, just getting the last hit on there. And we look to be about 30 seconds apart already this early on.
This next bit of movement from Mitch could shorten that a little bit, though. I'm sure he's going to be going for the chest clip, and if he misses that, that could be a few seconds Sefaro kind of just has for free. Oh, nope, going for the cliff instead. Okay, playing things safe.
This has been kind of a staple of Mitch that has taken me by surprise a little bit. Potentially knowing that in the race situation, your nerves are a little bit higher. You might not be able to execute that perfectly timed backflip, and just not willing to lose that half a second as a result. So very smart play from Mitch to go for the above a high cliff moon instead. Can definitely respect that. We'll see if Sefaro decides to try and capitalize on that by going for the chest clip himself. It doesn't appear so, and he's actually going to be missing Pebble Skip here, losing 2 seconds over the half a second that you would already lose going to do the treasure under the waterfall basin. So, you know, this has just been really, really bad luck for Sefaro. You know, just not getting the lines that he needs, falling into places that he doesn't want, and putting himself a good chunk of time back.
That pebble, it's weird how small things in the levels like that actually have pretty big hitboxes. Like that bush in Sand Kingdom where you have to ride the bullet bill over to the rock break. That bush has a hitbox that'll kill the bullet bill. I didn't realize that for the longest time, and I was like, why do I keep dying here? Like random elements have hitboxes for no reason, really.
And yes, there's like an invisible hitbox around just about every solid object that extends past. In fact, one of my favorite ones is coming up on Mitch's screen right here. So these guys obviously setting up daylight savings time manipulation for this seed. There is a bit of movement here that you can do. You can see Mitch actually avoided the roof quite handily, but that roof that extends just past the fence or just near the fence, I have bonked on that way too many times to count, even though it doesn't look like I'm about to.
Yeah, it's like in some cases the hitboxes allow you to clip relatively freely through walls, and in other cases they just extend absurdly far for no reason. I don't know. I guess with an HD game like this, it's kind of inevitable that things like that will happen, but it just it feels weird at a point.
Certainly, and a bit inconsistent.
I don't know. Oh boy.
Sefaro getting cactused here. He's got to make his way back up to the top of the ceiling. You can see the bird is actually flying by. He's going to have to go about finding an alternative for that bird moon. Unfortunately, the bird is going by. Maybe what he's going to do instead, he's actually going to try some sort of Heiano bird maneuvers here. When he comes out of this pipe, he can potentially grab the bird on the way by.
Yeah, and he already knows that he missed that DSTA, so going to be going for an older route.
And not even bothering with the bird at all either, which is very strange. So it might be looking to do some other kind of backup, maybe the Shifting Sands moon.
Is the Sphinx route still viable, or has that just been completely obsoleted?
Well, since 1.0 was the only version you could do the Sphinx clip on, you have to essentially talk to the Sphinx to get into that Sphinx room at all. So, making it much, much slower, especially with the discovery of the DSTA manipulation. Just not worth.
I see. Because I remember, like, the beginner route they recommended the Sphinx, especially for coin count, even on 1.2.
Mitch with that very stylish movement, doing the single bill strategy and clearing it by a landslide.
So clean. Well, Sefaro chugging on along.
Sefaro attempting that double bill strat. It's going to work out just fine for him. But yeah, from here, we're probably going to see Sefaro do a spin pound off into a different direction. He is a moon down. Yeah, you can see that he's actually going to go this way. Opting for the luggage moon as a backup here. Very interesting choice.
It's a bit out of the way, but at least you have the hills on the way there to kind of speed you up a bit.
Yeah, and now you're going to see him come all the way back. So that is going to be his backup plan of action. Looked like he was attempting to go for the Sphinx clip for a second. I don't really understand what Sefaro is on about at the moment. He's going to be a couple of moons ahead if I'm doing my math correctly.
I think this might just be like the old 1.2 route that he's doing right now. Kind of interesting. At the very least, it is going to make sure his coin count is just completely golden for the rest of the run.
Yes, certainly. Yep, shifting sands here.
Really weird move there. You can do a triple and get right over the fence, and that skips a couple seconds of movement around. Mitch, though, pulling off a very, very nice sand, not having any major issues whatsoever.
Oh, you know what? Sefaro didn't even grab the seed. It is very possible that he was not in time for the DSTA movement at all, in fact. So that is
I think when he threw the
why.
seed, it was over 7 minutes already.
Yeah, that could be why he is attempting this kind of older backup here. Though he did do the entire movement anyways, he still planted the seed, but I think that it was at that moment that he realized he was too late. So that is why we're seeing this older route here. It all makes sense now. It's all coming together. He does have to make sure that he is in time for the bird, I believe. Oh no, he's okay. He went into the Sphinx room, so.
And that was kind of whenever he missed the bird earlier, I was like, that's pretty much the only cycle he'd be able to hit is if he did the Sphinx room. But of course, the post-Sphinx movement was a little bit weird going around that fence like that.
And the bird is going to be waiting for him in the desert, so he's able to get this moon here, throw his cap at the bird, and then warp to the Odyssey. If
missing the bird just barely. Oh boy.
Having to chase it down, he's actually just not going to bother. He's going to go instead for this Notes moon here, the optimal one in any percent, and just having a real tough time in sand. And we haven't really been giving much attention to Mitch here, but he's about to approach the lake clip here.
Yeah, you know Mitch is going for this. No fake clips today, hopefully.
The setup looking a little bit dicey. Getting the fake clip into the long jump, bonking against the edge, setting himself up again nicely here. This looks good. And he's going to be through on his 4th attempt. So not the cleanest of lake clips that I've ever seen, but he's still holding on to a very commanding lead over Sefaro in this race.
At least he didn't clip back in bounds there. That out of bounds movement is fairly precise.
Yeah, one of many things can happen to ruin your day when it comes to that lake clip. Either you fake clip to begin with and don't even go in the wall, or you can potentially lose some time by bathtubing, which is never a fun situation. But Mitch able to avoid all of those. Literally swimming through the stage.
Yep, nice pillar attack there.
And Sefaro doing his staple, going to wooded first. It does appear that he is ahead as a result of this, but not is the case. He is just doing kind of what he has always done. This is a strategy that you can employ as a beginner to this game. Wooded Kingdom is by far harder than Lake Kingdom is in terms of execution. So if you want to get wooded out of the way, you can always choose it first and not have to worry about resetting later into the run.
Yeah, and especially if you're doing that Sphinx route and you have just way too many coins, honestly, it's pretty free. You're not having to worry about any coin collecting in Lake. Meanwhile, with the Sphinx-less route, you have so few coins that Lake is typically a bit of a necessity.
Yeah, you can get by entering Lake Kingdom with 100 coins out of sand, basically, but you have to be very diligent. And Sefaro going for the clip here. It actually looks like he missed it. Yeah, he's going to have to come down. He's going to have to go And I'm not sure if he's going to attempt any rock clip situations here. He might just
Certainly
go
hope
ahead
not.
and do the old route. So an immediate 30-second time loss just as a result of that. That trick really, really does put into perspective how important that trick really is, especially in a race setting like this.
Oh
And it
yeah,
might
glad he didn't try that rock back up. That's so inconsistent.
It's very, very difficult to get, especially if you haven't practiced it. But Mitch here, you might actually see Mitch catch up a little bit as a result of this, and he's still a kingdom up as well.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate. Both of them with the pretty synchronized finish. Oh no, Sefaro missing fast pipes.
Just
Gotta
a
do
little
this
too
backup
early on his
movement.
dive, yep. But he's going to grab the moon just fine. You're going to actually see him come out of the pipe here, not opting for the safer and potentially quicker warp route here. Mitch, on the other hand, very fast movement going through to do this tree route. This is the optimal version of Wooded as of now. Basically going to grab this tree moon. We're going to be skipping the piranha plant moon later on in the kingdom, avoiding a cutscene.
Yeah, despite the moon being just right in your way, the cutscene is so long that it isn't worth it.
Very stylish movement from Sefaro there. That spin pound into a roll cancel.
And not confident in his poison jump, opting to take a little bit of a speed hit in order to make sure that he handily avoids that poison pile. Nice would not break there.
Mitch, on the other hand, is going to be getting the nut clip just fine. Good wall jump there. A very solid Wooded Kingdom from Mitch so far. This kingdom really can test your nerves. I've kind of compared this in my own runs to being essentially the rainbow ride of Super Mario Odyssey. When you get here, you know that just about anything can like kill the run, so you just have to like play your best and hope you don't fall down, essentially. But Mitch is handling the nerves quite well.
And that is a pretty interesting thing about Odyssey, that the most difficult courses aren't all reserved for the end. Of course, Bowser is difficult, but you do have all these kingdoms, even this one before the 20-minute mark, that will really kill so many runs.
And I'm sure as a casual, these levels kind of do increase in difficulty a little bit better than as a speedrunner. We do just kind of manipulate the game in a way that it doesn't seem so.
Yeah, I mean, jumps like that, like the game just gives you that free flower road to use instead, but nah, it's too slow.
Yeah, Mitch's movement here is sensational. Doing everything right. even the very flashy Shireen bounce to get over the gap there. In the first round that I watched him do, he actually missed that roll cancel and fell and lost about 30 seconds. So he's got to be happy with the performance that he's posting right now.
Oh yeah, just playing super optimally. Meanwhile, Sefaro is going to have to go ahead and fight Spirit, unable to skip him in his route. Could Mitch exit first? I'm not quite sure. It's going to be close, but I don't believe so, since right after this multi-moon cutscene, Sefaro will be right at the Odyssey. But still certainly a very close Wooded time, at least on screen.
Mitch finally showing a little bit of give there. Bonking into the speedy nut boy on the way by. But not a huge time loss. Does require him to sit through a health refill animation here. But really, 4 seconds in the grand scheme of things is really not a big deal comparatively. But yeah, you do see Sefaro is actually going to be leaving the Wooded Kingdom first, but he still has Lake Kingdom to go. Meanwhile, Mitch is actually going to be warping to the Odyssey and just leaving this kingdom entirely. And it looks like he's on pace for a very, very low 18.3x exit. In fact, maybe a high 2x. No, it's going to be a 3x. It's going to be like a 30 flat. Very, very solid performance from Mitch, though.
Yeah, not bad at all, especially for a race. He's pulling really, really solid time so far. Meanwhile, Sefaro just a lot of runs of bad luck having to pull out these old, pretty antiquated routes.
And rolling into the Odyssey, just like finding a little pocket where Mario can roll forever.
Yeah.
Showcasing just how inconsistent this game is with hitboxes. And now I'm curious if Sefaro is going to be going for any sort of lake clip shenanigans here. It's basically split. From the races that I have witnessed in this GSA League qualifier, the runners are split 50-50, whether they go with the lake clip or otherwise. And it looks like Sefaro is on team safety here, taking the 5-second penalty in Lake Kingdom to basically just maintain consistency and make sure he gets through the kingdom without any issues.
And which I can respect. I mean, he knows that time save definitely isn't going to make a huge hit in Mitch's lead. And so, especially like since Mitch went for it and got it relatively quickly, I think it's definitely safer to just lose the 5 instead of potentially losing way more.
Yeah, I'd say Mitch probably lost more than 5 with his late clip setup and getting the one fake clip and everything. So it is possible that Sefaro is actually saving a little bit of time here.
Okay, nice movement up to Rengo. And here's hoping for a good Rengo fight. Psionic with the unfortunate death during this fight in his last race. Now Mitch going to be moving on into Lost. This is one area where you can lose a ton of time to just little movement errors, especially that butterfly section. It's always amazed me to see runners go for it as fast as they do with how thin that rail is. If I try to go for it even half as fast, I fall off every time. Nice meme tree. Going to be going for this Optimo around the wall movement.
Avoids having to do a long jump, and that's something that I've kind of been observing in Mitch's play. Something that, you know, a lot of maybe Super Mario 64 runners are maybe not familiar with is that this concept of the long jump being not a very optimal means of movement. Because every time you do a long jump, Mario actually resets his speed entirely down to essentially 0 and then kind of accelerates as the jump continues. So if there's any opportunity in this run where we can avoid doing a long jump and just maintain top speed and do other movement, it is usually more optimal to do something like that. And so it's very interesting to watch Mitch do this movement, which has been kind of popularized by Koopa free running, going around the side and avoiding having to do a long jump in order to save some time here. And actually, didn't get the manipulation on that Trapedal to make him move forward, so gonna have to throw his hat towards him again and break open the rock.
Yeah, a little bit of time loss there. And it's interesting that you bring up Mario 64's long jumps because it does have a little bit of a similar concept where in a lot of cases your jump dive rollouts will be faster than long jumping, but it is still a very versatile tool just because of the specific distance it gives you, and the long jump strafing is very, very good for positioning yourself precisely.
And from what I understand, it doesn't kill your speed in quite the same way.
Yeah, I think you can still maintain a lot of your speed, but the speed cap is definitely higher on dive rollout movement.
Right, makes sense. Long jumps do, in this game, bring you to max speed. It's just that kind of initial jump portion of it that slows you right back down, so... But as Mitch leaves the Lost Kingdom, only that one Trapedal incident to really speak of here. Sefaro finally finishing up the Bowser fight for himself. Which means that we have probably about 3 minutes of difference between these runners already. Sefaro really having some unfortunate circumstances in this run.
Yeah, I mean, granted, if those same mistakes were on Mitch's side, Sefaro would probably have a pretty handy lead right now as well, so...
Certainly.
I think it's really just the unfortunate circumstances with Sefaro, just not having that consistency on those vital tricks. Okay, Mitch with the Girder Moon. Meanwhile, Sefaro coming up on that butterfly section, really hoping nothing goes wrong for him here. Nice little Goomba bop from Mitch.
That cheeky little optimal jump off the Goomba saves probably about half a second.
Oh, Mitch going for some really optimal movement in this indoor city hall.
And did take some damage from the Goomba, so he's actually going to be losing time over just doing this the safer way. But if you can avoid damage, you can actually beat the elevator cycle all the way up and save yourself about half a second. It's not something that you see a lot of these runners go for, but Mitch is in kind of a league of his own sometimes when it comes to this movement tech. But is going to be paying the price for it a little bit here. Only a minor time loss. At least he didn't fall down the city hall and have to start it over.
Oh yeah, that's such a huge time loss, especially if it's on that leap of faith at the end there. Going into the Wiggler fight, hoping for a good 2-cycle pattern. Sefaro is going to make up a little bit of time in loss due to not missing that double box break.
Yep, every little inch is going to matter in this race if he wants to make it back. Got to play clean. Got to hope that Mitch is making some mistakes. If Sefaro has a really clean Night Metro, he could be saving even more time as a result of Mitch having to suffer the damage refill.
Okay, now looking at this pattern from Mitch. Got 3 of the orbs down. Okay, what kind of pattern? I didn't even know Wiggler could give you a pattern that good.
Unfortunately didn't capitalize as well as he possibly could have, but still finishing the Wiggler off in a pretty handy fashion here.
Yeah, Sefaro can probably save about like 10 seconds over Mitch's Nightwood or Night Metro. I don't know why I was gonna say Night Wooded. What even would Night Wooded be?
Technically the beginning part of Wooded before you achieve world peace.
Fair, fair.
It's weird because there are other categories that do that kind of beginner movement, like when you first get into Wooded and you grab the rock and you capture the bunny. There are some categories that do that in the post game as opposed to the early game, and it's weird seeing that part of Wooded Kingdom all lit up and happy and bright after having achieved world peace. Kind of throws you for a loop.
It's one of those effects that like it's hard to notice unless you see it side by side, especially like you would in a speedrun category, because casually, I don't really feel like I noticed a lot more vibrancy, but watching runs of it, you definitely notice how many more flowers there are and such.
Certainly. Mitch lining up for the scooter clip here on the drive-by.
Nice. Shoutouts to Taran saying, and I quote, "I don't need drive-by."
Maybe he doesn't need it, but it certainly helps.
Like, I feel like drive-by can be more consistent than using the like fence stop method.
I would have to agree, actually. As a runner, I would say that probably is the case. If I end up bonking on anything, it's probably just from not lining myself up properly, and it is easy enough to back it up in that sense. But, you know, you can kind of respect the setups.
Okay, now Sefaro getting started on his own Wiggler. Oh, getting a little bit of weirdness on this very first cycle. That looked like a perfect hit. I don't know why that didn't trigger the last segment, but okay.
These hitboxes are very funny. And by
Mitch,
funny, I mean frustrating.
Oh, yeah. But Mitch, you see, going for bullet building.
Yeah, this stop into the slots room is an indicator of that.
All right, here we go. I've actually seen everyone that went for this ended up succeeding, so here's hoping with this weird pull movement you have to do. It looks good for Mitch, though. I think he'll be in perfect position to get that bullet bill grab.
Cheeky little up throw to stall himself in the air. Gotta love it.
All right, and the capture is good. Okay.
Beauty.
Bullet building going nice and quick for Mitch.
Even getting the bullet bill to survive over to the moon. Very solid Metro Kingdom from Mitch here.
I also just I appreciate how the bullet bills have visors. They don't have like some actual shielding that you have to knock off. It's just a standard golf visor or something.
Yeah, you do gotta love that. Keeping with the whole theme of hats being your one means of protection.
Mitch with the nice spin pound off the Spire. And go ahead and go for that Luigi hand art. Ooh, and he... What? Okay. I thought he had that.
Just a little bit off on his bullseye there, unfortunately. So gonna have to take another ground pound. Ooh, and actually
missing the roll.
Not getting the dive that he wanted there.
Yeah, entering the people's room with that super fast strat is so finicky sometimes because the entrance is like not that much wider than Mario's hitbox.
And
so failing something like that happening, it's really easy to take a very big bonk there.
Certainly. Also surprisingly short. It looks like you might be able to dive into the doorway, but that doorway is a lot shorter than it appears. Again, kind of playing into how inconsistent these hitboxes are in this game. But Mitch has got to be pretty happy with this exit for Metro Kingdom. We are looking at a sub 30. In fact, something in the ballpark of a mid 4x exit, which is definitely still on sub-hour pace.
And that's really impressive for a race, considering how tight sub-hour still is.
Only 7 people in the world have accomplished such a thing so far.
And from what I understand, you're aiming to be the next one.
We shall see. We shall see how it goes. There's a couple of top contenders that could beat me to it.
Yeah, just so many excellent runners at this game. It's really awesome to see how many people have just really taken these runs to a true art form.
Yeah, it really goes to show just how good of a speed game this really is. It's like it basically checks all the boxes, in my opinion. You've got a game here that is incredibly easy as a casual player to kind of cruise through and play the way that they want. If you want to get into speedrunning it, there is a very clear way of going about the game fast, and the game itself is not very hard to beat. So approaching it as a beginner into speedrunning is a pretty easy thing to do. And then but that doesn't translate into trying to optimize it, because when you try to optimize it, it becomes an extremely difficult game to play, which I think it really does just check all the boxes for what makes a very solid speed game.
Yeah, nice high skill ceiling, fairly easy tech to learn but hard to master. It leaves you a lot of room for improvement, and what I think is really nice is that it's still pretty easy to get into.
Certainly.
Oh, the moon clip from Mitch. Okay.
Very nice.
Cheeky little 1 second time save.
Saving himself about a second there, yes. And avoiding having to traverse the hallway, which can be very infamous for bonks if you're not very careful. So good timing on Mitch's part here. We see Sefaro here entering the people's room now.
Oh, nice reaction there. Able to leave that bonk away. Oh, having some issues with the single spiny manip.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that was so close to bonking him right into the poison. Oh, man.
I've never really seen. So he did get the good RNG there. Was able to keep the spiny alive, but it's potentially bad RNG in the sense that the spiny did not want to go down without a fight.
Yeah, it reminded me of the lethal lava land bullies from 64. That's just... Sometimes they just do not want to submit. Thank you so much, Sebmex, for the tier 1 subscription for 3 months. Enjoy those emotes. Can we get some clocks in the chat? Some GSA fire.
Mitch taking some more damage here in the Snow Kingdom. Not really getting the best RNG when it comes to these Goombas, but he's going to make the best of it. And going to have to suffer another damage refill. You know, it's kind of funny when you watch these top runners and you're trying to pinpoint the mistakes that they're making in this run, and the only thing that you can really say is, oh no, he had to suffer a damage refill. You know, he's obviously doing something right.
Oh, yeah. It is still weird, though, that damage refills are a thing in this game, because every other game it's just automatic. Okay, your health is full. Go on. Kind of an interesting little design choice that Definitely rewards very clean gameplay, avoiding all those little bops.
Certainly. It's amazing how good of a time you can get in this game if you just avoid dying and taking damage. Even if you don't do all of this advanced, fancy, flashy movement, you can still very easily get a sub 110 just by taking clean lines and playing safe.
Oh yeah, I can certainly agree with that. The only reason my PB is a 117 is just like from a bunch of deaths, damage refills, and obviously very, very unoptimized movement.
Yeah, movement and not taking damage, the two core components of being fast in this game. The tricks, they save seconds, but the rest of that saves minutes.
Interestingly enough, I just remembered one of those deaths is actually in snow to a ledge clip. In the Goomba room, as I was moving away from the moon and the wall, I ended up taking somehow a ledge clip off of one of those platforms you're supposed to land on.
Yeah, ledge clips are a funny thing. Luckily for Mitch, not getting any ledge clips in his snowdram attempt, he is of trick jumping fame initially, so it would surprise me if he was to miss that particular jump in a race. One of the most consistent runners at it, for sure. Sefaro setting himself up for the clip here, but he's going to be missing it. He's going to have to go ahead and take the hallway of shame.
And just like you said, like those hills midway through the hallway can kind of throw you off center if you're not quite in the center initially. It's really easy to take a big old bonk on that door. Oh, missing the triple jump off of the wood block there. Gonna have to go for some alt movement to get up here.
Very good backup. I've never seen quite a backup like that, but Sefaro making it work out for him.
Okay, Sefaro not dealing with that potential spiny RNG. Gonna knock them all out of the way, and okay, the rail movement. Missing the moon though, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a signature of Sefaro there, rolling along the side of the railing to save a little bit of time.
Meanwhile, Mitch with a pretty clean seaside. What? That was sick. Okay.
Oh, that's filthy. Mitch, that's Mitch's signature for sure. That up throw into dive, using the ceiling to his advantage to kind of stall Cappy in a place where he's able to dive into it still and get a little bit of extra height. Very, very fancy stuff coming from Mitch.
That was just ridiculous. I can't believe he went for that, and I can't believe he got it. That was... For a moment, it looked like someone had found the levitating glitch that they just found in Breath of the Wild and Odyssey. So...
Oh my goodness, is that a trick to be to be manipulated in that game? I can't wait to see what those runners are coming up with. It could potentially skip a couple of tricky BTBs and stuff like that towards the castle part, especially in any percent. But that, of course, is a story for another time.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild, any percent GSA tournament win.
I'll get right on that. I think we have some tendrils in the works for something like that, but no guarantees.
I'd certainly love to see it. Awesome category, just like this game. And honestly, Seaside got improved so much, in my opinion, by Fish Clip. Avoided the hardest part of the kingdom by far.
Yeah, the hardest just so happened to be the slowest, which is quite funny. But yeah, you're going to see Mitch go for this fish clip here. And I always say this, any new viewers out there who are maybe interested in Odyssey and have never really played it or speedrun it before, if you are looking for an easy way to break the game, the fish clip is the way to go. Definitely try the fish clip. It's easier than turning the game on. It really is.
Honestly.
And the cool thing is we do use it in the speedrun, but it is versatile in its sense that once you're out of bounds, you can kind of explore Seaside Kingdom from the outside.
Yeah, and there's actually a very, very long way you can travel. I believe like you can travel all the way to a shards room and collect all the shards out of bounds.
With the fish, that's kind of the important distinction there, because that particular shards room requires you to give up Cappy to a scarecrow before you enter, which means that you have to swim around very slowly inside of this giant chamber collecting the moon shards. But you can approach from the outside with the fish clip, enter the room with the fish, and just very, very quickly collect all the shards as a cheap. You can't leave, though, without warping, so that is kind of another thing, but not a big deal. Very, very handy in longer categories.
Oh, yes. And so those synchronized Odyssey exits Unfortunately for Sefaro, though, still has a full Seaside Kingdom to make up.
So
Nice
in
salt
terms
triple from Mitch.
in terms of time, that is something in the ballpark of about 3.5 minutes for you guys watching. So Mitch, very, very commanding lead still. Going for this very swaggy movement that I am trying to employ, and this goes back into talking about eliminating the long jumps. The traditional way is to just kind of roll off the front side of that platform. But he is actually rolling off the side and initiating a triple jump to clear the gap over the lava.
You know, I think that jump is a great example of just how important vectors are to going fast in this game.
Oh yes, certainly.
It's like I think at first you pretty much only saw them in Moon and in the Frog Room, but over time it's been discovered that they can save time in so many spots.
Yeah, basically anytime you do a triple jump, you have enough height to kind of manipulate Mario's horizontal distance just by kind of zigzagging in the air a little bit. We use it for Flower Road skip now. We use it for that jump that you just saw Mitch do now. Yeah, it's crazy the amount of places that you can utilize some vectors if you know when and how to use them.
Yeah, they are certainly a pretty finicky tech to learn. Pretty much just have to go into like a wide open space. Like there's a couple spots in Cascade that are actually decent to try to practice them.
Another place that I can think of off the top of my head also is Metro Kingdom.
Oh, yeah.
If you're doing the speedrun, you're doing, oh my goodness, Mitch with that movement. So clean. The use of the cap bounces after a roll cancel jump is just phenomenal. The amount of precision that is required to pull that off is like, it's beyond me. It's crazy.
That was ridiculously clean. Wow. Oh no,
Sefaro
Sefaro not getting the fish clip, not quite far enough back.
Yeah, but about the only thing that can go wrong with this fish clip is not having Mario come back in bounds enough. He'll get kind of zipped back in. Oh, and now he has to be very careful.
Oh boy, yeah, he swam like right into the wall there, so...
Oh!
Narrowly...
Oh, and he swims back in anyways!
What's he even doing? He's just gonna go for the clip again?
He
must not know the Sphinx answer. Because I think in that situation, clipping the way that he did, that's actually not the worst way to clip back in bounds. If you clip back in that tunnel, that's such huge time loss, but...
Yeah, the option there definitely would have been to go and answer the Sphinx quiz. You'd be losing about 20 seconds, but Sefaro maybe doesn't even know the answer to the quiz and had to do the clip once again.
And that was really just... He had that saved. He just really needed to... like try to reposition his camera, move a little bit more carefully, but he still tried to go for that fast movement.
But finally leaving Seaside now. Mitch, meanwhile, just finished up the Forks room. Very solid movement from him. Climbing up. Interesting little up throw there. Very cheeky stuff. And on his way over to the cheese.
Hopefully will not be triggering Gansta with the uncontrolled... Oh no, bopping the Hammer Bro instead of capturing. And take that damage capture this time around.
Not sure he wanted the spin throw there. But he's going to be breaking open the cheese with the other Pan Bro and on his way to the Story Moon here.
Yeah, and of course with the spamming throws, a little bit slower than just stopping and throwing very carefully right into those middle blocks. Gansta was saying, I think, like, if you do the controlled throws, it only requires a maximum of, like, 4. So it's actually a pretty decent time save over just spamming the hell out of it.
Yeah, you got to be very careful and kind of inch your way in there.
Okay, now Mitch going for this nice little triple. Oh!
Whoa!
That save! Oh, man! Wow!
So very easily could have accidentally ground pounded into the Pepto-Bismol below, but he is able to dive back and save this run here. And going for this very fancy movement that he's kind of developed himself, avoiding the capture entirely. using a Shireen bounce to get up to the top. Nothing really holds a flame to Mitch's movement in this game.
Yeah, like if he had the consistency, he'd be sitting at a 2x PB right now. It just when you're playing this risky, it's so hard to develop that consistency. But man, it's
Absolutely.
impressive to watch when it goes right.
Only a matter of time, really.
Yeah, and I honestly don't even think I would have thought of that initial dive that he did for the backup, or at least I probably would have done it so late it would have bonked. That was just impeccable reaction there. Sefaro going for that roll cancel movement, getting a little bit of that momentum eaten by the wall.
And again, getting a little bit messed up by the geometry here. Sefaro kind of had to wiggle his way around to get through the stage. But he is making it through just okay. Oh, and didn't get the spin pound that he wanted there. But still managing to make it through fast enough here. Mitch, meanwhile, entering the Ruined Kingdom. And as we all know, what a wonderful kingdom. Very, very action-packed.
Yep, lots of opportunities for time save. For instance, you can save a couple frames with those early hook throws. That's honestly pretty much it. Aside from losing time to bonking on those chains like Mitch just did. Doesn't it seem weird that those chain hooks are even there? Like how could they have really ended up there? I mean, they're really driven into the ground.
Yeah, it's very strange. And also into the dragon's head, which I'm sure it has to be painful.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely. I feel like Nintendo had to answer a lot of calls from concerned dragon activists on this one.
No dragons were harmed in the making of this video game.
I'm surprised we didn't see that disclaimer. Must be somewhere in the credits or something.
Bunnies, on the other hand.
Lots of little cat pops on the bunnies. It's weird how free they are when you practice them and you're speedrunning this game, but just how much of a pain they are casually. And Mitch with the nice second hit there.
And Sefaro finishing up the Forks Room on his way now to what would be the turnip clip movement. In fact, he's even doing the spin throw as if he was attempting to go for the turnip clip, picking up the turnip out of the ground, but going to be avoiding that. Just making his way through the stage.
Oh boy, yeah, when you're standing on top of the cheese like this, it is so difficult to actually hit the switch.
Almost impossible, I would argue, but he is going to be making it happen anyways.
Yeah, lots of time loss, unfortunately. Meanwhile, Mitch making his way over into Bowser's in just a moment. Now, unlike Ruin, Bowser's is actually a very technical kingdom. Kind of the game's last hurrah before Moon, which does have some precision movement, but Bowser's, oh man. So all eyes are going to be on Mitch for this.
Definitely the penultimate kingdom. It really does put all of your kind of platforming knowledge to the test, especially as a casual. When it comes to speedrunning, there are a couple of tricks that basically that you've seen throughout the run, but the stakes are much higher because we are hanging over a giant death plane. So things like a dram are involved here. You have to be very careful to time your dram properly in order to not fall off the stage, as well as some very intense and tricky platforming sections, including roll cancel jumps and dives over death planes and dive back strategies. There's just a whole lot going on. Homing cap throws. It really does have everything.
Yep. I don't know if you noticed, but Sefaro coming dangerously close to the death ground pound on that little pillar towards the very end of Luncheon. His ground pound was like pixels away from him, just going straight down into the Pepto.
Thankfully
nice
avoiding.
Opening movement from Mitch. That movement is just free. You just hold ZL and roll.
Mitch showing off a little bit of stylish movement there. The roll cancel cap throw into a dive. Again, avoiding another long jump.
And that
so
was like that
fast.
long jump makes that strat so free. So going for that little bit of time save with a pretty decent amount of risk to boot. Sefaro, meanwhile, making his own way over to that dragon fight.
Mitch just kind of swagging now. That nice little spin pound roll cancel to maintain optimum speed to get to that first wire. And even getting the perfect like return cap there to get the dive back strategy to work.
That's such an insane strat on these shards. These shards have come a long way.
And even going as far to capture that back Pokyo instead of grabbing the first one. That to me is absolutely sensational stuff. It really is amazing how far these shards have come.
And of course, shards are like the only thing Cappy reliably homes in on. Apparently, there's a priority system, and shards are at the very, very top, which makes a lot of sense given just how far away Cappy can be, and he'll still home on them. Now, Mitch gonna be going for this Bowser Dram. Oh! Oh, the big... What? Oh, that save. Okay.
Yes, the one thing that makes this strat a little bit safer than you might anticipate is that because you're already setting up for a dram, if you do dive off the edge, you can just use the dram to save yourself. Of course, you're going to be losing time, but it does prevent the death, does prevent having to go back to the checkpoint. So while it is a risky strategy to go for, it is fairly safe in its own regard.
That's, again, just that tight reaction. Which, funny enough, if that situation happened in like a minimum captures, it would just completely kill your run.
Unfortunately, yes.
And unfortunately, Mitch SMO with the inferior Harry at first order. Can't quite say I support this decision. That'll probably be leaving him at about a 2-hour potential.
But Harry at first saves 20 minutes.
Oh no. Is this the commentating situation again?
Here we are.
With a Harriet First gang member? Oh, man.
Yes, yes, indeed. What are you going to do? We're going to have to duke it out. We're going to have to see what Sefaro does, essentially, to determine who is the victor. Shoutouts to Harriet First Gang.
Shoutouts to Topper First Gang. GSAT's in the chat. Telling you, man, those caps are brutal. Gotta just get that out of the way.
And even though he didn't do it first, he did get the caps out of the way. And just like that, he's going to be on his way to the story moon. Just has the finishing bit of the kingdom left to go, including the Robo Brutal. And we'll see how he tackles it. I've noticed a bit of new movement coming out of this Robo Brutal fight regarding the climb. The climb has kind of had a rework in the last couple of weeks. We'll see if Mitch is able to pull off that movement.
Yep, but first, of course, the greatest music drop of the game. Every time I get to this section of Bowser's, I get chills. I really love how it's like there's really almost nothing happening with the music for the entire stage, and then you finally get here and you're like, oh, okay. Yep. This is getting real now.
That moment of, okay, this is it. This is the moment. We're leading up to the climax of the game. And then, of course, in classic Nintendo fashion, you actually get debated and sent off to another kingdom to kind of finish the job. But it does really get you hyped, get you believing that the final challenge is approaching.
Yep, and of course, this lone wire capture, that dramatic zoom out to show you that entire arena area. Bowser really has done a lot with the plays. I feel like this is the most aesthetically pleasing home Bowser has ever had. It's not just completely filled with lava and just a bunch of just concrete everywhere. Like, it actually has some culture to it. It has some feel.
Certainly. So Mitch did go for that climb. He tried the wall jump and was just a little bit too hasty. Took a bonk on the one of the nuts on the leg, but no big deal. He stayed on, continued the climb, and the fight continues.
And not a huge time loss. Don't think that we saw a topper acquired. Probably just playing it fairly safe, at least as safe as a top level player would on this map.
And missed
Setting up
the
for
fast
target
ground
acquired.
pound, but he is going to be okay here. 2 quick dives into a spin pound, target acquired.
Very nice. Oh, Sefaro accidentally breaking one of the earlier crates here. And if you've ever wondered if the Mario universe has UPS, based on how just completely broken all those crates are, I mean, look at how bent up all the metal panels are. I think that's definitely evidence of some modern day postal service at work there. Who else bangs up a package that much, especially one made of metal?
Isn't that the truth? Poor Mushroom Kingdom having to deal with a suboptimal postal service.
Oops, Sefaro with the bonk there instead of the dive off, seeing all the ways that this strat can fail.
So just going to back it up by doing the movement without the capture warp. But as Sefaro finally approaches these bunnies, Mitch is actually going to be finishing up. Oh, and we just got
Sefaro
Jabate.
with the Jabate!
Oh my goodness. You
That's
guys
the type
thought he
of-
was Harry at first.
That's the type of top tier comedy moves you can only expect from someone of high caliber as deserving to be in the Topper gang. Admitted, Harry at first gang would never have thought of that kind of debate.
Finishing up Topper handily here. Now, if you are starting out this game, you know what? I'm going to submit. I think Topper first is probably the way to go. And the reason for that is that Topper is much easier to take damage to. So you can always use that checkpoint to refill your damage and not have to sit through the health refill animation. So Sefaro not having to worry about that. Didn't take any damage in the Topper fight.
Yeah, it's worth admitting that the Harriet manip is certainly harder to do, especially as a beginner. And so if you're just wanting to get the fight out of the way as quickly as possible, I mean, you're almost an hour into the run anyway, probably at a beginner level, but this will be past an hour. But I can certainly see wanting to do Harriet first if you're just not good at the manip.
Mitch approaching the Moon Cave skip here. He's getting some good vectors through the Moon Kingdom, and he's actually going to be attempting...
Oh, man!
Oh,
nearly getting it, bonking right on the end there. That strat is so ridiculous. I don't understand how it even works.
You just have to be as optimal with your jumps as you possibly can. Interesting Moon Cave skip there. I'm not sure what Mitch was going for, but he did manage to make it up on the second try. He did the regular way of going about the Moon Cave skip. He's up and over the edge. Probably just trying to swag a little bit, knowing he has such a lead.
Also, just quick shout outs to Mario for, like, I don't know why he thinks this is necessary, but even though it's Bowser's wedding that he's going to, still dressing up in his Sunday best just before entering the Moon Kingdom. Yep. Mario truly is the perfect gentleman. Even when he's going to break up a wedding and just beat the ever-loving snot out of its groom, still gonna dress to impress.
Yeah, if you're gonna crash a wedding, do it in style.
Honestly. You know, Sefaro gonna be finishing out this Bowser's in style. Good crates moon, good movement after with the Pokio. Let's hope that the mech can just keep the goodness going.
The climb looks good here. Ooh, a little bit, risky on the execution.
Right beside Rango.
He's gonna have to reset this position here. Do the climb again. And the second spin pound looks good, so he's gonna be able to set up for his topper hit here. Coming in beside, into that quick spin pound on the left side. Getting topper.
Nice topper hit. Meanwhile, Mitch taking a little bit of damage to Bowser. I think that may have just been the fire attack. Not quite sure.
That's the intentional damage take from the third phase to line yourselves up with the hat. So he's good there. Finishing up the Bowser fight, and now just the escape to deal with.
XD skip incoming, question mark?
I mean, at this point, Mitch could probably attempt to do XD skip and fail 2 or 3 times and would still be holding on to a lead.
Yeah, nice fireballs there to go ahead and get rid of the boulders before they become a problem. Setting up for this triple. It's interesting how much tech there was to discover about this final escape sequence. Like, oh wait, Bowser has a triple jump. Oh wait, Bowser can run in 2D. What? Of course, trying to do this section optimally is weird because you have to do a claw grip to hold one of the 2 fireball buttons so that you can actually run and then still use the other to actually break things. Oh, losing a little bit of time to the non-XD skip, ending up not breaking those blocks like he wanted.
But going to be making it through just fine. Didn't do any XD skip shenanigans here. Didn't really leave himself the opportunity, breaking all those blocks.
And now, of course, the Sonic Adventure theme intensifies as we get into this final fight. That was literally all I could think of casually, was like, this is... They did the same thing that Sonic Adventure did 18 years ago, and yet they still did it better.
Yes, I always kind of criticized Sonic games for doing that, and then I found out that they did it in my Mario game too, and I was a little bit choked. But, you know, you can't deny the song is a banger.
It really is. I think it's because they didn't go for that edgy tone that all the Sonic themes go for.
Certainly. They kept it upright and cheery. And with that, Mitch is actually going to be finishing up this run here. And wow, even with all of those kind of minor mistakes that we're talking about, that we're seeing, he still comes out with a 1:00:23.
Yeah, the flat hour times are still super impressive. I'm just really impressed he completed the whole game in 23 seconds. I mean, that's what the timer says, right? 0023.
Amazing. World record by almost, well, over an hour. Absolutely sensational. Oh, there we go. The 1 has been bumped into the frame, crushing all of our hopes and dreams.
Yeah, unfortunate. I thought we had the end credits warp already. Just
Maybe.
move backwards during the Cappy cutscene in Cap Kingdom, and you just get warped to the end. Bam. Oops, Sefaro trying to ground pound a little bit too early on the Sphinx there. He's going to be able to make it work the second try, though. A little bit faster of a moon skip due to the no one-kick shenanigans. Mitch is 13? What?
Yes. Yes, he is.
I don't understand, man. I don't.
These kids, man, they've got all the time in the world on their hands.
They really do. I wish I would have gotten into speedrunning in high school. Would have been so much better than wasting my time with National Honor Society and like just all the other extracurricular crap I did that didn't matter at all in the real world. Yeah, I could have been a fast boy the whole time, but nope. I had to, you know what our fundraiser was for Honor Society? We had to sell freaking water bottles for $1 a piece. Like, all that ended up happening was our parents had to buy a case of water for 24 bucks. It was so stupid. Just, if you're in high school right now, don't bother with that crap. Maybe do like band or something you actually enjoy, but like, that's a big, just do something you enjoy with your spare time. There's no point. And like all that other stuff isn't gonna matter in like 3-4 years.
Words of wisdom. Mitch showing off his class, showing off his abilities as a trick jumper, capturing this incredible moment several million times.
You see, Moonlight Mirage, like that's the right idea. Do theater, do band, do like anything that you enjoy, do debate or something. Like do something you enjoy. Found a speedrunning club at your high school.
Oh, there's an idea.
Right.
And now Sefaro finishing up the Bowser fight. Just has to capture Bowser this final time into the escape sequence. And we're coming up on kind of a cliffhanger, actually. Now it's obviously not a race to see if he's going to win or lose. That is far past. But if Sefaro has... Oh my goodness, what is he doing?
Going for the backwards camera angle here. I never realized Peach is just on your shoulder the whole time like that.
Yes, she is. I was going to say that Sefaro could probably scrape by getting maybe 1 or 2 points if he is optimal through this escape and through the pillar section, but then he went and did some shenanigans and already probably lost him that time. So maybe not possible. We'll see. Mitch very likely to be coming away with the full points here.
Yeah, I don't think he's quite going to be entering the pillar room on time. He's cutting it real close for that single point. Sefaro not... Wait, does he somehow not know about that strat? I mean, great. I didn't know about it until the GDQ run. I think it was Bayleaf's where it was whichever run had Spike and Timpani on the couch.
Yeah, that would have been Bayleaf's run.
And at the very end, Spike was just completely floored. He's like, "You can run there? What?"
Yes, this escape not shaping up to be the greatest for Sefaro, unfortunately. Did have to throw quite a few extra fireballs at that first pillar to make it go.
Lewis, if you hold down the fireball button in the 2D section, you'll actually run just like the normal 2D sections. It's just normally you don't have the capacity to throw fireballs, so that's all you can do with B, but in that case you have to be holding one button and use the other for the fireballs.
And Sefaro finally busting open this final rock, entering the pylon just about 4 seconds too late to gain any points. So Mitch is actually going to be earning the entirety of the 90 points from this race. And it is a little too late for Sefaro to have made any difference anyways. With Mitch taking the 3rd win, he will be qualifying for the tournament portion of the qualifier coming up, alongside all new Luke, who will take the other spot moving forward. And that will settle it for Group A and Group B. Group C and Group D will be taking place over the next 2 weeks. You will see these, basically a new group of opponents face off and try and qualify for the tournament portion. Not sure if we're getting any of these guys in for an interview. Mitch has declined the interview. Haven't heard anything from Sefaro. Might be safe to say that we are just going to move on with some more GSA content. But what an exciting race. Watching Mitch is always kind of a treat. And, you know, being able to very effortlessly pull away with some 1:00 times is, you know, definitely a force to be reckoned with here. And, you know, good luck to Mitch within the qualifying portions of this GSA league. Sefaro, unfortunately, not going to be making it on to the next round. But, you know, better luck in the future. So we're going to take a quick intermission, and we will be back with some more Super Mario Odyssey content. Looks like we have Oddme versus MeWe, if that match continues to go
I was
about.
actually about to say, in the back room, it looks like that match is being canceled due to Oddme's internet having some issues.
So the producer just letting me know, which is unfortunate, but it does look like we have some Super Mario 64 action coming up later on Electric.
Yep, that will be Tama82 of Tama Plus fame versus Hakase. I will be calling that with Scotch and Tie Guy. Super excited. And then right after that, another Tama match, Tama doubleheader. That'll be Blue Bob versus Tama. So those will be 6:30 and 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, respectively. Those should be some great races. Tama is always a pleasure to watch. Not quite the most consistent runner, but someone that comes up with a strat like Tama Plus, you know you're going to see some great movement.
Absolutely. So we will be taking a couple hours intermission for that, but stay tuned, you guys. Electric, it's been a pleasure being on the mic with you today.
Oh, of course. It's been so long since I talked to you. For those that don't know, I actually stayed in a room with Dangers at Pace, and it was a blast. Great guy, IRL, and of course, an awesome speedrunner. Go give him a follow if you haven't already.
And
Awesome channel.
right back at you, Electric. Shout outs to the runners. Make sure you guys drop these guys a follow as well. Prominent speedrunners in their own right, doing some attempts and some streams of their own. So hit all of these guys up with your love. And we will be back later with some Super Mario 64 stuff. Stay tuned, guys. And thanks for watching.
Yep. Peace out, and we'll see y'all later.